this year we expect to process about $5 billion worth of transactions through MPAiSA. I mean, after COVID, it has really been a revelation. And people who used to transact in the traditional means through normal cash have once they have moved into the digital ecosystem, digital payment ecosystem, they haven't gone back. I mean, you look at the inward remittances that we bring into the country. The highest we reached was in August was $47.8 million in inward remittances in a month. Now, if you look at $1 billion or $1.1 billion that comes into Fiji as total remittances, we are now bringing close to about 43-44% of the total inward remittances. And during COVID, when the whole world was in lockdown, remittance was the lifesaver for Fiji. And people were able to get help from people and families abroad, anywhere in the world, just directly on their mobile phone. So this has really been a game changer, and we expect that this transaction volume will grow. We have recently launched MasterCard, and for the first time placed a open loop worldwide accepted payment card in people's hand who would probably never have had access to that. So yeah.
So you're saying 5 billion, that's in a year?
Yes.
$5 billion this year, and that will be a record.
Of course, it will be a record.
Compared to last year, what would have been last year?
Last year, we would have turned around about $3.5 to $3.8 million.
$5 billion going through your platform is massive. Yeah. Of course, then it brings me to the next question of detecting suspicious transactions.
Sure.
And based on that financial reporting requirements, I will ask Consumer Council first. With that much money going through, do you believe that there's proper suspicious transaction reporting requirements in place from your perspective?
Thank you, Vijay. So from the Consumer Council of Fiji's perspective, now because of the large amount of transactions which are occurring through MPAiSA, so the Reserve Bank of Fiji has oversight, as Shalin has mentioned. So it's not only MPAiSA, so Digicel MyCash as well. So there are systems in place through which Reserve Bank of Fiji is able to monitor, and if there's any suspicious transactions, so it is the responsibility of Vodafone or any other service provider, financial service provider, to flag it to the Reserve Bank as well. Now, once that happens, so if there's any suspicious activity, it is also important to act on it as well. Right. So the Reserve Bank of Fiji, they diligently do monitor it. If there's any transactions, they do raise alerts, or they do try to find out, or they do try to investigate. Now, from the Consumer Council of Fiji's perspective, so one of the major issues which we have, so transactions occurring, is some of the deceptive practices which are involved, and this mobile money wallet is being used as tools to transfer money. Now, once that is being done, so those are crimes of proceeds. That happens, so it is the responsibility of the service provider, in this case if Vodafone, they give the information to the enforcement bodies. So because the service providers, they are not enforcement bodies, they cannot actively go out and look for people who are scamming. They have the information with them through the KYC and requirements, as Shalin had mentioned. So this information is given to the enforcement bodies who carry on further investigation. So that's how the entire process goes as well. So even for the Consumer Council of Fiji, if we detect any, or if we receive complaints from consumers claiming that there is suspicious activities or they have been scammed, and if mobile money wallets are involved, such as MPAiSA, so we do it, flag it to Vodafone or any other mobile money wallet service provider, and we also flag it to the relevant enforcement body as well. Why? Because Vodafone cannot directly reveal any customer information to the Consumer Council of Fiji or to most organizations. So a warrant needs to be served. Why? Because as a service provider, they protect their customers' information as well. So then the enforcement bodies, in this case, for example, if we use the case of eBay, which you had mentioned when we started the discussions, so it goes to the enforcement bodies for their further investigations.
We'll talk about eBay later, but the issue of financial reporting requirements and detecting suspicious transactions, what kind of systems are in place?
So one of the requirements under the FTR, Financial Transaction Reporting Act of the Reserve Bank, is that any transactions deposits or withdrawal over 5,000 needs to be captured and reported to RBF. So we do that, on a monthly basis in terms of, but it is not just 5,000 transaction that could be suspicious. Many consumers are smart who break transactions, so they might do 2,000 today, 2,000 tomorrow, and 1,000 or 3,000 another day. So we also have a system in place where we are able to see the cumulative effect of smaller transactions, which may be used to bypass the financial transactions reporting. So these sort of transactions are picked up because we have reports on a regular basis that are generated by exceptions, such as the value of transaction that goes through a particular mobile wallet in a month or 2 months or 3 months, and if there is a consistent pattern, then remember at the time of registering the customer, we also record the customer's profession or occupation. So if somebody has recorded their profession as a housewife and suddenly starts depositing in thousands of dollars in their account, then it raises a red flag. So these are, we have a fully trained compliance officer who reports directly to the financial intelligence unit of the Reserve Bank, and she is trained to basically monitor these sorts of activities. And whilst one transaction may not look suspicious on its own, but the combined effect of transactions. And the good thing about digital financial services are that you can download and do all kinds of analytics. You compare that with cash transactions. Most of the transactions that happen in terms of money laundering, etc., happens in the cash-based economy through money laundering, etc., and it's very, very difficult to sort of detect. So from that perspective, we are fully compliant. We do report all the suspicious transactions. Remember, it's suspicious transaction. It is not a crime. Our responsibility as a service provider is to report what we consider as suspicious. It may not be a criminal act. That part is left to the financial intelligence unit and the
after an assessment is made.